I'm a believer in creating multiple streams of income. So I decided to become an Uber and a Lyft driver. I would highly encourage any one of you guys to do the same thing. And I'm going to talk to you about the benefits of being a rideshare driver. So when I first started, I actually registered on a promotion on my phone through Uber and Lyft. And what it allowed me to do was it gave me a goal to work towards. So the promotion guaranteed that you would make $2,000 by the time you completed 200 rides. So for me, by my 200th ride, I got an email saying, "Congratulations, Natasha, you got to your 200th ride." But I actually didn't make the $2,000 on my own because sometimes you do short trips. So they actually put in the $800 difference. So I went online, I registered, I sent my vehicle information, my vehicle insurance, my personal information, and what they do is a background check. So that takes a couple of weeks, and then in the meantime, what you can do is actually go on the app and look at training tutorials. And what this does is it prepares you for, how to pick up your first passenger, how to prepare your vehicle for passengers, when is it safe to drop off passengers, so things like that, which were very helpful. So once you are approved, you get your PTC license that you stick on the back of your windshield. So all this prepared me for my first ride. And just a note on insurance. So there has been this myth that you have to pay more insurance if you want to be a rideshare provider. But I called my insurance and I just said, look, I'm thinking about doing this part-time. Do I have to pay extra? And they said, okay, well, are you planning on doing this full-time or part-time? And I said, just part-time, a couple of hours a week. And they said, well, you know what, there's no change to your policy because Uber and Lyft have their own insurance policy. So the moment you start driving with them, you're covered under them. However, you still need to have your own insurance. So if you don't have your own insurance, I would recommend being a second driver, maybe with your spouse, or if you're younger and you have parents who drive, then go under them as a second driver, because you do have to be driving for at least a year, I believe it is, and have a good record. So some side notes. So I was so excited when I first, picked up my first passenger. I drove right through the car wash, wiped off all the water spots, and then got enough courage and then hit that go button. So driving along, I got my first ping, and of course I'm nervous. So, self-talk, you calm yourself down, and I drove towards my destination because the app guides you. And picked up my first passenger. It was a male, and he got into the car and he was like, "Oh, nice car." I was like, "Thank you." So we headed to his destination. It was actually a medical center just down the road, and we got to talking, and I mentioned that this was my first ride. He was my first passenger because he did ask, "How long have you been doing this?" And I was like, "Oh, actually, I started today." So he laughed. But he was great, especially when you get people in your car and they're like, "Oh, a female driver, I love this." Especially the females, because they get so comfortable, they can relax. This is what they tell me. And then, we talk the whole ride, whether it's about career stuff, it can be about personal relationships, whatever. So, you conversate with your passengers, and there's definitely good banter. So, just engaging with people from all walks of life. You meet young professionals, you meet middle-aged people, you meet tourists, you meet retired people. So I would definitely encourage it. If you just want to get out and earn some extra money, whether it's part-time or full-time. I know some people who start at 6 a.m. and they sign off at 6 p.m. So that's 12-hour shift, and that's a full day's work. I also know a guy, he signs on at 6 a.m. and he signs off at noon because that works for him. For me, I like to do afternoons and evenings because that works for me. But you can do mornings, you can do afternoons, you can do evenings, and you can do nights. So it's very flexible, and you can sign on and sign off whenever you want. Another benefit for being a rideshare driver is that you can decide where in the city you want to work. So if you want to stay in the downtown core, if you want to drive to the suburbs, if you want to do airport trips, which are cool, or if you want to do a mix of all. So you have that flexibility. So I just wanted to encourage you guys, if you just want to make some extra income, maybe you're saving up for something, or you need to pay tuition, or you're just replacing your income. definitely look into it. It is worth it.